What's up, everybody? This is Jerid from Echo Blades. Thank you for joining us for another Triple T podcast for knife makers. We appreciate you spending your time with us in the shop, in the car, or wherever this beautiful sound may find you. As always, I have my buddy Denis Tyrell from Tyrell Knifeworks. Denis, how are you?
I'm good. Just had a weekend away, so I'm feeling a little
Again?
tired. But yeah, I know. Just 2 weeks in a row. I got to stay home for the next few weeks.
Don't you have some stuff to do?
I know. I have a lot of shit to do. That's the problem. But actually, I was feeling pretty good last week. I caught up on I think on the Viking build. I'll talk about that in a bit. But first, I got to tell you what I did. So went actually a surprise visit for one of my stepdaughters. So we went to visit her and her husband in Colorado, in Colorado Springs, Denver, blah, blah, whatever. And we went to see the show, The Empire Strips Back, which is like...
Did you say strips?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a Star Wars burlesque show. And although that sounds really geeky and weird, it is funny as hell. It was such a good time. I cannot recommend it enough. It was really funny. But especially if you're a Star Wars fan.
Is that like a Jabba strip show or something?
Yeah, they do that scene. Of course, they do that scene. Yeah, it's pretty good. You got to go check it out. There's a Jawa scene, but luckily no Ewoks.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. How'd you find yourself there?
Well, we had got these tickets for my daughter and her husband as a present, and then Kim said, "Hey, why don't we just surprise them and just show up on their doorstep and say, 'Hey, we're coming with you.'" So that's
nice.
kind of how we, yeah,
surprise.
Yeah, awesome. But they had a good time. It was really fun.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. What'd you do?
Oh man, I had a pretty busy week. I think I was talking about it, but I knew it was going to be eventful. So I had some subcontractors come in from out of town on Wednesday, and we had some boring ass meetings, and then we ended up in the city at a Warriors game.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah, we had it was pretty funny because the new Chase Stadium is fantastic, right? And I'm pretty lucky that the sports events that I get to go to, I tend to get score some really good seats, right? So as opposed to going to games as a kid coming up, with the normal folk, I find myself with all these falutin
fancy schmancy.
Yeah. But we were what's I gonna say? The prices are fucking ridiculous. So
how much are Warrior tickets these days? I never go.
It's like $200 for the top nosebleed, and it drastically increases as you get down closer to the court. So they were looking at like some courtside seats, because they're from like Midwest, and they're like, oh, it was like upwards of like $1,000 a seat to get not even courtside, anywhere near courtside, but still like some decent seats. So we ended up in this thing called the Modelo Cantina, and I have never. I mean, it is the farthest from the court that you could be. You need oxygen, damn near.
So you're basically watching it on television, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, nah. I mean, there's really not a horrible seat in the house, but it was pretty cool because, for bigger guys like me, when you get in the seats, you kind of get trapped and it's a little snug. But this is like an open seating. There is kind of like assigned bar seatings over like a balcony type thing where you can see, but they give free drinks and free food, and you can kind of roam around. So it was really good for the setting, like the environment that we were trying to do, talk a little business, watch Steph Curry shit on everybody. It was good. They actually played very well. So they whooped the Bucks.
Did they win?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
They stomped them pretty good.
Nice.
And but the night before they got their asses whooped and blown out. So but it was cool. It was a really cool time. Um the stadium's awesome. It's a other than the city, like I've grown less and less fond of the city as I've gotten older. And part of it is like trying to get in and out. So the game is over at 10ish or something like that, and I'm a smooth 2 hours plus from home. So it was a late night. I didn't get in until like 1 o'clock. Had to get up early, do it all over again, go to work, and then we had a convention in Sacramento, which is like same distance, opposite way in the valley, and did that whole thing, and then ended up at Top Golf, and again another late night. So we didn't. I'm 2 hours from the house. We didn't get done until like 10:30. I'm driving home, and I'm like 4 miles from this exit to where I can beeline off into the sunset. And I'm like probably 20-25 minutes from house, and there's a 5-car pile up, and we get stuck on the fucking freeway for 45 minutes till like 12:30, dude. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Oh,
But
yeah, I was fast asleep by then.
Yeah, it was pretty lame. But so I think I slept like 6 hours total, and from Wednesday to Friday morning. So, but yeah, one thing I did realize is that we all have, or I should say we all, but a lot of us have day jobs and do things that we have to do to support our families and make money. But it really 100% solidified that I do not like talking shop unless it's about knife making. I find
You
it
mean like talking work? Yeah.
talking shop, everybody for fire sprinklers, it's just the same, just regurgitated conversations over and over and over. And some people, this is their, that's their passion, and to each their own. But I'm just like, okay, all right, let's move on. I make knives, right? No.
I gotta admit, I'm the same way. People start talking about software and coding, and I'm like, really? We have nothing better to do? Even when I'm with like my team at a team lunch or something like that, I'm like, I don't even want to talk about work when we're at a team lunch. Like, I'd rather.
I'm with you, but on
I'm
the other
done.
hand, here we could talk about fucking anything in the shop, and I'm probably the guy that they're like, shut up, trying to explain how Damascus or pattern welded steel is made, to somebody that doesn't know. It's still like you watch the confusion and the blankness in their eyes go for a minute. But
Yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah, cool. So did you get any time in the shop last week?
Hold on, I got one more. So it's a convention, like a trade show, and it's a smaller event, but it'll take you an hour or so to walk the floor and go see all the really cool latest products for fire sprinklers and stuff. And lo and behold, I see this Milwaukee tent, right? And Milwaukee has not been prevalent in our industry ever. Like the pipe threading machines are big because we fire sprinklers, we thread pipe. But Milwaukee came out with a pipe threader that's they're trying to compete with rigid. So I walk over to this guy, and thing was right by the bathroom. So I walk by, I go to the bathroom, and I come back out, and all of a sudden something just whispers like, dude, go shoot your shot. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Go shoot your shot. I find myself walking up to them like, so hey guys, what is the chances that Milwaukee would like to sponsor a young, new local knife maker? And yeah, they told me to go fuck myself, and they're like, yeah, well, Milwaukee has their own line of knives, and Bob, I was like, yeah, I've used your fucking box cutter, but I'm talking about like this. So I show them some stuff, and they were like, yeah, no, it's probably not going to happen, dude. But so I was like, all right, whatever. Well, I gave them a sticker, and they ended up giving me a pipe wrench. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna fucking make this pipe wrench into a knife, and I'm gonna post it all over the internet. And you're gonna regret this moment, Milwaukee. You just watch. But
they get some advertising out of it, so they should be happy.
yeah, I don't know. It was cool though. But I just was telling people, man, I just got shot down by Milwaukee. That's awesome. I mean, no big surprise, but
Well, when you said pipe threader, I thought you were going to tell them you wanted them to make a twisting machine or something like that, because that's what everybody uses those things for.
yeah, I mean, think that's why they were made. No,
So what day was that? When was that?
That was Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah. So
nice.
That was it. Got a little bit of stuff in the shop. I think I actually got sick again for like the 9 billionth time this year, which is pretty fucking irritating. But I slept all day Saturday, and then tried to drag my butt into the shop on Sunday, and I got some stuff done. Finished grinding a knife I'm working on. Tested out the Sex Machine sander prototype. I put that thing to work.
All I can hear is fader now.
Yeah. It's good. It's good stuff, Jeff. Good stuff. But the thing kicked ass, man. It really did.
Good.
Still a lot to do. Ended up profiling a Gomai Hunter for an order from a bill that I made a while back, and got to send that. I'm trying to send people that orders and stuff, trying to send them progress pics, send them the billet, and then show it profiled and kind of
it's always a good idea
along like that. Yeah, try to get them engaged in the build as much as I can. So
cool.
Yeah,
good. Yeah, let's see, what did I do last week? I finished off that little forge finish, just little utility knife, whatever it is. And when I was, so I decided I had this little block of koa. It was basically the stand for that big piece of koa that I won. It was like what they were propping it up with. I'm like, I'll just use it because it was small and fit on this knife. So I figure I'm going to cut it on the table saw because it's really only big enough to get like, I can't even get 4 scales out of it, like 2 thin scales, and the other part is probably whatever I'll probably throw away, or it'll be a bolster or something like that, whatever. So I'm taking slices on the table saw, and I get the first one goes no problem, and I just replaced the blade, so it's singing through this wood, just like it's not even there. And then the second slice, I literally did not even see what happened. And table saws scare the shit out of me, first of all.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm using the push stick, and I'm being safe, got my fingers away from it. And I feel a piece of wood, like I guess I'm just standing off to the side a little bit, and I feel a piece of wood kind of just graze the side of my beard.
Oh, jeez.
I still cannot find where this piece of wood went.
Oh, fuck.
Like, this thing came 2 inches from stabbing me in the face, and I scoured the shop. I cannot find it. Like, it went flying right past my head. I have no idea where. It's probably lodged in the ceiling somewhere inside the shop. Like, I really don't know where it is. Scared the shit out of me. But luckily it was the off piece that I didn't need. So,
oh goodness.
But it made me think, man, I really should get a wood bandsaw instead of a table saw.
Well, yeah, because I actually I have a wood bandsaw, and I had replaced the blade, but since I'm a dum-dum, I didn't really set the guides up right, and I ended up getting a little wider blade, and replaced that I think last weekend. So I cut a piece of koa block, and it was uneventful. It just split perfectly. It was very nice.
Asshole.
Yeah, I'm gonna let all of the wood flying at your face jokes go too, though. So We'll leave that up to all of them.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
but
but for real, those things are fucking scary. I don't like angle grinders and
I don't mind
chop saws.
angle grinders, buffers. Yeah, I know they're dangerous, and I give them the amount of respect. But that table saw, like, man, something about that thing just scares me.
Yeah, it's no bueno.
No, but finish that knife. I'll probably just bring it to blade. I probably won't even post it until then. But I did make some excellent progress on the Viking sword. It is actually in sword shape right now, and
I saw that.
and I told you I was worried I wasn't going to have enough steel. The thing is like over 3/8 thick. It's probably, geez, whatever's bigger than 3/8. It's not a half inch, but almost. Um, Through the whole length of the sword, and the blade is well, just like maybe a 1/4 inch shy of like 30 inches, and it's got a big tang on it, and it looks really good. So yeah, the Damascus. I mean, I'm just starting to see the pattern on the surface. Like I haven't etched it or anything like that. I haven't even cleaned scale off it yet. But
Oh yeah,
I'm happy.
so it's still in the same condition.
Yeah, I haven't done anything.
Oh, that was Friday. Yeah, so
yeah, but all the welds look great. No issue with any of the welds. So yeah, I'm excited to get going on that one.
I mean, you didn't end up putting an edge bar on it?
I did not, because it's kind of a cool. So the reason I didn't want to do an edge bar is it's complicated and it's an easy thing to screw up. So that was the main reason. But the other reason was I didn't want to, like, how do I say it? The mosaic, if I would have done an edge bar, I would have been compressing the blade, like, because I would have had to weld the top and the
height,
bottom edge bars, right? So
right.
that would have squished the pattern, distorted
Yeah.
the pattern down. And then when I drew out the sword, it's going to stretch it in the other direction even more. So I didn't want that, because I already had the tiles twice as high as they were wide, because I knew I was going to stretch it out. So that was going to give me the perfect proportions.
Right.
So if I did an edge bar, then it was going to mess up all those proportions, and I didn't account for that. And and it was just too complex, so I didn't do it. But it'll be a complex enough pattern without the edge bar. So
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now I got to deal with like the double fullers and the whole complexity of that build. But I think I'm gonna surface grind the whole thing, and that I actually think I'm gonna profile it, surface grind it, and then heat treat it before I do any grinding on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I might just because I'm worried about those fullers. Because if those are off by even a little bit, it's gonna warp like crazy. So,
yeah.
And not just warp, it may twist, and I really don't want it to twist. It'll be hard to fix. So I may just suck it up and do all the grinding after the heat treat, but I don't know. I'll see.
You gonna do the ball end mill fuller deal?
No, because it's a really wide fuller.
Okay.
It's probably going to be, I haven't decided if it's a 6-inch wheel or a 10-inch wheel.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I mean, the sword is 2-inch.
Yeah.
It's 2 inches wide at the ricasso. So the fuller is going to be like 1.25 inches. So
this is my favorite part of like being, I guess if I got a cool inside track is watching this kind of stuff go down. Not everybody. I mean, everybody gets to see the videos and stuff like that, but over the next few weeks, I'll watch you motherfuck this sword a few times. It's gonna be awesome.
This is literally what keeps me up at night. Like I'm lying in bed, like, man, should I use the 6-inch wheel or the 10-inch wheel? Blah blah. Like these are the dumb things that keep me up at night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy to have it in sword shape. Now I can do grinding and then get onto the fittings, which are not that complicated. I'll do some engraving on them, but they're not like.
I thought you were planning like some craziness on it.
Well, I mean, a little bit, but they're not like katana fittings, right? That take forever.
I gotcha.
Right? There's not a million pieces. There's a guard and a pommel, right? That's it. So
Cool.
but
And how much
yeah.
time do you have?
What are we at? 11th? I got a month and a week, something like that.
Okay.
That all of a sudden that doesn't sound like a lot of time.
I'm smiling, guys. Oh, that's
Oh,
funny.
yeah. So we'll see how much fancy stuff I do. Um, I got to get this thing heat treated and ground and hand sanded. That's going to take a day at least to hand
That
sand the
thing's not
thing.
going to fit on the fucking
No,
Next Machine 5000, is it?
no, I already thought of that. It is not going to fit. So, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes, and how fancy I get is going to be directly proportional to how much time I have.
Gotcha.
So I guess you're not doing something for the Viking challenge, right?
Oh no. Nope. I mean, unless something crazy happens, and I don't see that going. I'm struggling just to get enough time to keep moving. So gotta pump the brakes and not stress myself out enough as I already am,
Yeah.
But I do get a little FOMO when I check stuff out, on the Facebook group, and I'll be like, oh man, I should.
There's
I get
some
over it.
really. I was looking at the Facebook group. I've been kind of MIA because I've been so busy, but I was on the Facebook group the other day, like yesterday, whatever. And there's some really, really. I like, and I forget who it is, and I don't want to go look it up, but there was one. There was someone who's doing like wire inlay in the pommel, and it looked really good. So I'm curious to see what some of these blades are going to look like on the viewer. And this is for the viewer entries, not even the the makers. This time, the makers, like the channel participants, a couple people have shown what they're making, but most of the guys are being pretty tight-lipped on this one.
I was just gonna ask that. Are they because that I forget the name, the Slack channel? Is
Yeah,
that what you guys
no,
do?
it's
Yeah.
Discord now.
Oh, Discord now?
Yeah.
Huh.
But yeah, I haven't heard Mr. Kaglar, owner Kaglar, hasn't said a word about what he's doing, or he hasn't started yet.
That could be.
Matt Stagmar hasn't. I haven't heard a peep from him on what he's doing. He's busy doing swords for Conor McGregor. So
Yeah.
um,
I think they're
he may
going
not.
in on you. Yeah, they're gonna whoop your ass.
Yeah, those two guys, especially Matt, he's done a ton of swords. So
Oh
I'm
yeah.
expecting big things. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's the 19th. So I got 5 weeks or whatever that is, 6 weeks. I'm going to be on right to the wire on this one, unlike most of them.
Nice.
So
Cool.
what else is new?
Have you ever been ducked?
Ducked?
Yeah.
In what sense?
So you have a Jeep, right?
Uh-huh.
A little Wrangler
Yeah.
Jeep, right?
Uh-huh.
So apparently I have a buddy. What's up, Andy? He's got a Jeep, and he'll send the group chat that every now and again people run around. I guess it's a thing for Jeeps where they put rubber ducks on people's Jeeps if they think they're cool.
I have never heard of this before.
Your Jeep is whack? Nobody's ever ducked you?
Hey, first of all, my Jeep is awesome.
That's why I expect you had like a nice pile of rubber duckies at your house somewhere.
I've never heard of this getting ducked.
Yeah, every now and again he'll send me, and I'm like, "What the fuck is that? Like, what is this? Like, who comes up with this shit?" But yeah, he's been ducked quite a few times. So I was like, I better find out if Denis has been ducked. But
No.
apparently you don't do any ducking.
No, I mean, I'm not like the mall crawler Jeep either. It's got, it's got a lift kit. It's got,
Yeah.
yeah, it's got aftermarket bumpers and fenders, and yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't look like a stock Jeep. But
Well,
no, I've
maybe
never heard of that. Never
you
ever
got
heard
to
of
check it
that.
out. I hadn't either, and I don't have a Jeep, so I've
Yeah,
not been ducked either.
you're not part of the cool club.
Nah, just with my Chevy Silverado.
But when I was first dating my wife, and we drive somewhere in the Jeep, and she'd be like, "Did that guy just wave at you?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a Jeep thing." She's like, "What do you mean? That's so cool!" And she was so excited, and we'd be driving by somebody, and she's waving like a mad person, like,
Oh Jesus! Wait till she finds about the duckings.
right? She's so funny though, because she's waving like she's on fire or something. When you're supposed to
Yeah,
just do the two finger like on the steering wheel
yeah.
wave kind of thing.
The old Harley low peace sign down there. That's
Oh,
crazy. So you got something cool happened to you this?
so it's no matter who you are, it's always nice to get some kudos once in a while, and especially if it's from someone that like or admire or whatever.
Sure.
So it doesn't matter who you are, me, whatever. So I'm on. This was like late last week or something like that, and I get a message on Instagram from out of the blue from Graz Makes. And if you guys don't know who that is, like he's one of the Jimmy DiResta guys, right? He's one of the guys on the TV show Making Fun, and he's the guy with the beard. It's John Graziano is his name, but
Right.
his hand he goes by Graz, and we've seen him at Maker Camp, but he's like with the Jimmy crowd, like
Right.
like feel like I want to go up to him and interrupt those guys, and they always look busy and whatever.
Right.
And he reaches out and says, "Hey man, I thought I was following you a long time ago. I just wanted to say I love your work, and you're my favorite knife maker." And I'm like, "Wow, that's so cool!"
Yeah, that's
and
awesome, man.
and I said, "Man, yeah, I mean, I totally know who you are. I watched the show Making Fun. If you guys haven't seen that show, go check it out on Netflix. It's basically Jimmy and his buddies. Um, they have this TV show where basically these kids will ask them to make things like make me a dinosaur that poops hot dogs or whatever it is, right? Like it's something ridiculous." And then they just make it, and it's like one of them is like it's like a 6-foot dinosaur that I don't know. It's eating hot dog, whatever it's doing. I don't
Tacos.
remember. Tacos, yeah, it is tacos.
It is tacos. I only say that because you shared this with me, and I was like, I don't think I've ever seen that. So I
Right?
was actually hand sanding, and I watched a few episodes. So it was
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah, and it's fun, and just Jimmy DiResta's just his tone with the kids. Like he always
Yeah.
seems like he's annoyed.
Yeah.
Like
It's
yeah,
awesome. It's funny.
it's funny. Anyway, Graz is one of the guys, so I thought it was really cool that he reached out. So yeah, I had my fanboy moment with Graz reaching out. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So
I'm actually surprised he was able to find you on Instagram since you've been debarred
oh,
again.
jeez. I don't know what they had. We had the big reset the other day. I don't know if they'd like rolled back. I'm gonna pull some software stuff. If they rolled back some code or something like that, and because now last week, whether like for me it was I noticed it on Friday, but it could have been the day before or 2 days before. All these knife makers are getting hit by the Instagram bullshit again about being not recommended. So I'm back to recommendation jail. and so are a whole bunch of other makers. So we're back to appealing, and hopefully they're going to fix this. I had a conversation with not a chat. God, I forget who it was. Sorry, I'm going to totally space on who it was, but someone basically said they actually spoke to someone at Instagram because they had the verified and whatever. They got to talk to someone, and they said the Instagram guys are like oblivious. They don't know that knife makers are getting targeted. And they just seem to think, well, it's a glitch, it's a bug with the algorithm, that it's a bug that just needs to get fixed, which is what I think as well. I mean, not to say that, yes, I had one guy like, oh, you really think they're not targeting us? Like, no, they're not maliciously targeting us. Their algorithm is just cranked up way too high. It's like anything that looks like a knife is just getting banned and picked up. Like I see anything that is remotely like a weapon, they're just ratcheted up the algorithm too much. They need to tone it down. That's what I think. But, I don't know. They ratchet it back up, I guess, but it's annoying. So I'm back to, I think I had 6 weeks of it, posts actually going out to non-followers and having a bunch of non-followers, but not anymore. But
Unaffected.
yeah.
I
I
think
don't know what to say about that.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe my stuff doesn't look threatening and sharp. I don't know. No, I did do some changing of just descriptions and a couple things that were recommended over the last time it happened, and I've been checking pretty regularly. I mean, as often as I remember, but I haven't. I'm still good for now, so I'm just fingers crossed, because I was one of the I watched the entire community get hit with this thing, and I was just like, oh, it hasn't happened to me yet. And then like people were getting their stuff fixed, and all of a sudden, boom, I went in jail, and it took me fucking forever to get things right. I peeled at least 20, 30 times. I swear, because you'd get through the however list that you got, and then they'd pick a new one. So so far so good over here.
I mean, I only have 3 that usually it's 5. And like, you don't know how many, like, cause they only show you 5 and
Right.
it could be 25. You don't know.
Right.
But it's only 3. And one of them's the Starry Cosmos knife set, chef knives. Like what's
right.
And still the whole frustrating thing is that it's not against their guidelines. Their guidelines say that knives and weapons can't be shown, or knives specifically can't be shown to people under the age of 18. Instagram knows the age of the person that's seeing it. So just don't show it to someone who's under 18. So why is it getting blocked at all?
Right.
But there's no such thing for, scantily clad women. They can be shown to anybody, even to kids.
It's true.
Yeah, there's nothing in the guidelines about that. So frustrating, but what do we do?
Well, I think we've heard quite a few suggestions of, I mean, Instagram is part of our deal, right? Whether it's, community or even just our customer based and sales, but I've heard a lot of people, kind of reinforcing their commitment to newsletters and, other means of, getting their work seen. So,
yeah, that's exactly what we had this discussion as well. Like that's exactly what I'm going to move to, is just focus more on, I have this list of people that have purchased knives from me. Like I should be taking more advantage of previous customers or Patreon members. And like, I have all these email lists, but I'm not using them. So I got to, get my ass in gear and start to use that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they all deserve to see the stuff that you have out for sale and people that are interested, right? I mean, if you got a customer base, it's probably best to put your work in front of them. I mean, it makes complete sense,
Right.
So
And honestly, like a lot of the people that have bought knives for me have bought more than one knife for me. So
right,
that's just a normal thing, right? Go after the people that have, sell to the people you've already sold to.
right.
Yeah.
Well, and it's something that
So
they can share too.
yeah.
But
So let's talk about this. My next thing on my list is the YouTube comment of the week,
okay,
which is another fun one. Kind of somewhat, I always either pick the ones that are really funny or the ones that are annoying. And this is another one of those. Um, I won't call it gatekeeping, but it's like labeling this. It's this. It's not that. It's the quote. The comment is. I don't know why, maybe this wasn't an English speaker, but he said, forged in fire, not ground, comma, no smithing in this. And this was on the copper katana build. So he's basically commenting that, yeah, it was forged with fire, but it was, you know, not ground and there's no smithing in it. Like I didn't physically hit it with a hammer. you know so someone spending too much time watching Forged in Fire and glamorizing the striking something with a hammer, but it just got me thinking that not everybody knows, like, one of the most popular techniques now is these layered constructions, right, whether it's gomai, sanmai, copper, not ferrous, non-ferrous, whatever. And on purpose, like I don't hammer in bevels, like I don't forge any of these to shape. Even the ones that you can, like, you can't forge where it's dangerous to forge any of the non-ferrous, like the copper and stuff like that, forging them to shape, because it's really dangerous hitting them on the edges because they can delaminate very easily,
mm-hmm.
hitting them on the edge. But it's not a good idea, because if you think about the construction of that blade, and of that billet, I should say, on how the layers are constructed, right? And I have a video about this on how to set up for layered construction, because you want, like, let's just talk about copper for a second, just because it's an easy one to think about. You want the copper line to be not at the edge, not way up at the spine. You kind of want it to be somewhere in the middle. Maybe it's the bottom third, maybe it's the top third, or maybe it's right in the middle, whatever. If you start to say hammer in your bevels, what you're doing is now thinning the blade at the edge, which means you're going to compress those layers together right at the edge. So now you're just bringing that copper line right down to the edge
Mm-hmm.
and thinning your core, which is something you don't want to do for these layered constructions. And now, if there's part of the knife edge where you've hammered the bevel a little more than others, well, now you got this goofy drop in the line.
All right.
Instead of, if you just grind it in, you're going to see a nice continuous line in the same place on the blade. So I always tell people, even if you can, don't hammer in bevels, don't forge these kind of things, the layered constructions, to shape, because it will look better if you don't. Right?
Yeah,
So
I agree.
yeah. So there's it it gets to the point of, just because, it's not necessarily the path that you took to get there. I'm looking at the end product. There's always a reason why I do something, right? And
Mm-hmm.
most Smiths, experienced Smiths, they do things for a reason. You don't just, well, yes, I could have smacked it with a hammer to make people feel better, but I didn't, because I want this outcome. So I thought that was a good example comment of someone who doesn't really understand the construction and just thinks it's cool when you hit something with a hammer. But in this
Right.
case, it's a bad
I
idea.
mean, it's not random pattern Damascus. It's not
Right.
mono steel. I mean, things that are, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's not to
So
take away any skill from either skill set, I
yeah,
mean,
and
for some guy
it's
like me, finding the center of the core seems to elude me right now. So, I mean, I'm getting a lot of these sand mines with one side higher and lower than the other. So, I mean, I can say I get it.
yeah,
Hammering in bevels would only
make that worse.
further complicate things, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's just one of those. You learn from experience of not doing it. But
But there
yeah,
are
on
people that
your
do, and there are people that do it and make them okay. It's okay either way. I think
yeah.
that's what we're trying to say.
What and back to my other point that I'm going to say down here is and Jerid and I have had this discussion many times that I am an opinionated fuck. I will tell you my opinion no matter what. And I think it's generally a bad idea to forge these to shape. Yes, people do it. Yes, they can be successful at it. And yes, they can still make a knife that looks great. But for the masses, the people out there that are new and beginning this, it's not a good practice.
100%.
You're going to have less probability of success if you do that.
I can agree with that, Mr. Opinionator.
Because what were we talking about? We were saying, oh, well, we might as well talk about the triple T because I'm going to bring up
Sure.
a point that you said.
Sure.
So, yeah, last week's triple T was on grinding basics, and I showed folks how I teach grinding. And the last time I did a grinding basics video, I had you in the shop, and we went through it.
Yeah.
And I think I've even refined it. I kind of do a dual technique now of, being very stiff and putting the initial bevel in, the initial facet, the
All right.
flat spot, and then moving to the pull with one hand, push with the thumb
Yep.
on the rest. And I think, I've taught quite a few people this method. I think it's one of the easiest ways to get people to learn, moving the concept of moving the bevel up or down. I think they kind of get that after, what do you think?
For me, when we did that, um, when you explained the rest and the thumb and the concept of moving the bevel up and down, and it was huge for me. I was lost in the sauce trying to just put the and having what it did for me was give me a sense of confidence when I approached the grinder that I didn't have before. That that time and where we did that, it has allowed me to um, go, because currently right now I'm on a freehand kick right now. Like I was able to, I wouldn't say like successfully, but I was able to confidently put bevels in on the rest. And then I started not liking the vertical plunge line.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the angled one. Um, and I went and visited my buddy Tony, and he did it an entirely different way. So what now is I find myself fucking those up pretty good, and then going back to the rest to kind of get my shit straight again, because now I use a combination of both of them. But the point is that it is a solid method, and it is easily explained. I've actually taught a couple people myself. I wouldn't try to teach freehand because it's just basically a feel type of thing. The other method to that, instead of using your thumb, would be the push stick,
Sure.
which is a great method as well. But yeah, I agree. It is, for someone starting out, I think it's a very good route to start with.
And I think it takes it takes one of the variables out of the equation of the XY axis. I mean, the X
Oh,
axis,
yeah.
or sorry, the Y axis of the knife going up and down. You don't have to worry about that. You're concentrating on I I apply pressure and I move the knife across the rest. I don't have to worry about it going up and down as the belt goes up and down.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest the visual thing was when you just put your thumb when the knife is on the rest and you just put your thumb against the belt with little to no pressure, and you see the knife, fall into the bevel, and then with very little material being taken until you push, you give it pressure. That was like, oh, I get it. And then when you're freehanding though, you got the shit coming, fighting you going up and down, you're in and out, that there's all kinds of different different shit to be worried
And
about there.
and and once you learn, I think once you learn how to do, like, you learn the pressure, like, oh, this is how I move the bevel, then yeah, then you can do, because I mean, I don't do chef knives with the rest
Mhm.
because the same thing. I don't want a plunge line on my chef knives. And same thing, like I can't do a vertical like I have to do, because the heel just goes way up underneath the handle, so I have to do it on like a
Yeah.
45.
Right.
And I can't do it on a rest. um, so yeah, there's certain things where a rest is going to be limiting, but when you're starting out, when you're learning the basics of grinding, I think it's the easiest way to learn. And it's the way I learned, and yeah, you'll progress onwards after that.
Sure.
But
And always be able to go back, and I mean, there's a grind for every knife, right? Some of them need that,
yeah,
um and I'm grateful for that. I think it was a great video this week as well, talking about the the basics of belts. I think, I mean, one of the things that still I fight with is trying to find a progression of belt, stepping up that actually I can stick with and go to, because I'm jumping around trying this, trying that. But I always remember when I had a single speed grinder, that going from 36 and then jump into a 120 with that thing full blast, and I'm like, how in God's name do people grind past like to 200? And I thought 220 was like this crazy professional zone, because
yeah,
I've you just one ding and zip, and that shit is almost trashed.
yeah. And I think one of the most, and a couple of guys had commented, like, and I agree. I think one of the most important things about grinding is the attitude. Like, having
100%.
that attitude, like the positive, like, I'm gonna grind this knife. Like, I'm not like one, like the whole positivity guru kind of crap, but like, it is one of, like, if I'm in a bad mood, I don't. I try not to do grinding on knives, because that is like one little thing. Then you're going to get angry. Then you're going to make another mistake, and it just breeds negativity, and you will not be productive.
Wholeheartedly agree. 1000%. I will chuck a knife. I'll torture test something if things go wrong. I'm not in the right spot there.
Yeah,
I always think too, like, working all day, and then if I had a shitty day at work, or I'm tired or something. It's not something you want to do just haphazardly. And a great attitude obviously helps, and you know. But I mean, when you are able to apply small um processes that allow you to see success, that becomes, a lot easier to get into that zone. So
yep. But yeah, next episode we're going to talk all about heat treating. In this week's, I guess this Thursday's video is going to be all about heat treating, and we'll go over the basics of heat treating. Of course, I'm going to be heat treating in a forge. I'm not going to be using the oven, although I'll talk about it a little bit. But most beginners are not going to have an oven. Jerid here is an exception. It was like
Yeah, I was gonna say, what do you mean?
it's like the first big tool you bought was an oven.
I
But
bought that even heat. I'd been making like 3 months, I think.
yeah,
But there was no way I could. There's no way I was going to be able to. I didn't have a forge. I was fucking using soft bricks with a propane torch and saw on some YouTube thing that I found. Like it just, it wasn't going to be successful, and I knew me well enough to know that was well needed. So
yeah.
good
But
for all
yeah,
you.
I'll talk about that and the different techniques and the misnomers about just heat it to non-magnetic, and you hear all those kind of things being said here and there. Quenchants. This is a great topic. You read any of the Facebook forums, and you'll have all kinds of misinformation about what's good to quench a knife in.
Water.
Yeah, tears of a virgin.
Right.
The whole motor oil debate, and just say the word motor oil in in the Facebook forums and watch everyone come out and jump on you. It's almost as bad as like just. I actually want to buy like a volcano forge and just put a little video on Facebook, bladesmithing for beginners of it not coated. It just light it up, just so I could troll everybody with the comments, because everyone's, which is rightly so, but it's just funny that
I
people.
mean, it's definitely not safe. So.
No, but it's funny. It's those two things on say that you're going to use your forge without coating it, or say you're going to quench with motor oil. Neither.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. Neither of which is a good idea.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's funny
I
to
was
hear
going to say
people.
too, the one of the things you had told me before was like, you had gone from like 36 and maybe 120, and then you just spend your life hand sanding to, not mess up your knife. And I don't agree with that anymore.
Well, but that when you're starting out, if sometimes you don't want to risk, like, know when to quit was the topic in the video.
Yes, that's it. And I say it jokingly now, but I mean, it is really, really an important thing,
Yeah.
for the positive outcome. You try to talk about positivity,
Yeah.
you spend all that time and then you just nick the shit out of it. You're like, oh.
I have another Bowie knife that I'm working on, and I'm looking at it, and it's hand sanded up to 800. And I'm looking at the plunge line, and it's just off by ever so much. And right at the heel kind of thing, it's not quite thin enough. So I'm like, oh, then I could thin it out and center up the plunge line. And then 2 hours later, I have now the whole knife. I now have to rehand sand. I was like, now I'm on both sides with 400 grit. And so I was kicking myself after that. I should have just left it alone, but
yeah, I do the same thing. I'm done. I did it. It's good. And then I'll go hand sand and be like, oh my God, this is not okay. Let's go back. So,
but
I'm with you. Now, it was a good one, but the people have spoken, sir, and we want to see a beginner leather video for dum-dums. Like,
so
not like, not, it was something that, just really basic, not like assuming anybody knows much about it. And, there are some people that I think we had talked about it, and, like a Kydex would probably be more up the beginner route, but, I've done a couple with you, and, the retention is, I was telling you, I sold the knife that I did, and so my example's gone, and now I'm like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do?
So I wish I could find the video that I originally watched when I learned how to make sheaths. Honestly, I cannot find whose it was, and I've never watched the channel since. But if anybody knows who this is, speak up. But he basically had like an ordered checklist like
Oh, that'd
a
be awesome.
step by step, right? And in his notebook, he would open his notebook and he had the step. And that's what really helped me. Like, oh, you got to do this before you do this. And like he had them all listed out. So when I do this video, you're going to see steps, do these steps, because leather is one of those things that you definitely have to do the steps in order, because if you don't, you'll forget to dye the belt loop before you glue it. And then you're trying to jam the thing in there, or silly things. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think I should do a beginner leather sheath for the beginner series as well as Kydex?
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at right now. So selfishly, yeah. I think I don't think it's necessarily. I think the Kydex is important too. That's a very common step to for a sheath. But I think the beginner stuff is basically what you need. Just like some outlining processes, and
Yeah.
it doesn't
Okay.
have
Well,
to be like all crazy. In depth. But
okay. Well, you convinced me. I'll do the Kydex one, and then I will do another one, a leather one.
I think a lot of people get some value out of that. We got him, Noah. Thank you. Oh. That was recommended from Noah from Antioch for Antioch for Forge.
All right, you got me.
All right.
So what's this? I'm reading the show notes, and it says here, should I get an HRC tester or keep using yours? Are you actually considering getting an HRC tester?
Yeah, I was. I
Were you?
almost, yeah. So I can't go into it too much, but I had another opportunity where I might be able to swing that deal. And, but I think I'm going to go a different route because yours is really close, and
hey, it gives you an excuse to come over.
Yeah, and then I can go hang out. And
I got to have a couple of
yeah.
tools that you don't have, or you won't have an excuse to come over.
Don't worry, that surface grinder is gonna keep us friends a long time.
You know what I was thinking the other day? We got to do late spring, like after Blade Show. We need to do. Oh, maybe we'll do it with the induction forge. We have to do this throwing knife build off.
Dude, we were supposed to do that like a long time ago.
I know, but now I'm like, we got the induction forges. This is something we can do like midsummer, because we can do it in the shop with the air conditioning on.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this. We got to do this. So,
all right.
And everyone, I got my induction forge up and running. Haven't done any videos because literally I turned it on once, twice. That is the most magical tool I've ever used. It is such a cool thing to be able to heat up a piece of steel to 16, 17, I don't know how hot it was, probably 1800 degrees in 17 seconds from cold. Probably less than that, actually. Probably if you concentrate it on one spot, in 8 seconds, you're at forging temperatures. It is such a cool thing. So I'm excited to put that thing into use.
Yep. Yeah, it was cool. Friday was the first time I'd actually seen one actually heat the steel up, and it's just like, it's mesmerizing. You're like, what the fuck? I mean, and all we did was just heat it up and cool it off. Do it again. Do it again. Yeah.
It was mild steel, right? So we just quenched it in water and did it again.
Yeah. I was like, yes, this is a great idea Denis had.
No, I give you full credit for that one. You gave me the nudge there, but
we're not the first ones here, bud. We're a little late to the game.
I know. Oh, but now, my order. That come to think of it, my order for all my water jet knives should be here tomorrow, actually.
Oh.
Which reminds me, besides the Viking Challenge, I got to get busy on all the knives I'm going to bring to Blade Show. Oh, scary. What do we got?
Yeah.
3 months? Less than 3 months?
3 months.
No, it'll
That's
be
the
over
one.
in 3 months.
Yeah.
3
Good
months
God.
today.
That's crazy. Yeah, I gotta put an order in for some things for my buddy Lawrence over at Maritime.
Maritime. That is a great little place. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, that's where I go. Dennis goes there as well for all of his steel handles, heat treating ovens. Did you know they sell those there too?
I did.
Grinders,
I did.
abrasives, everything you need for knife making. He just got a huge shipment of steel and VSM and other abrasive belts. So make sure you go check it out. Maritime Knife Supply.ca and tell them Dennis and
Or
I sent you over
.com.
there.
Or .com.
Is it
Yeah.
ca.com? I just found out that fucking .ca is Canada.
What'd you think it was? California?
California. Obviously. It's in my damn Echo Blades thing in my email. I'm such a dumbass. I really had no idea. I was like,
Hey,
oh shit, yeah, it's gotta be California. I just barely found out about Canada not too long ago. So
I never noticed that your Echo Blades is .ca.
yeah, well, it's echoblades.ca.com. So
.ca.
I don't know.
Oh.
Whatever. Well, you live in there.
You,
Anyways,
you you
go
just want
check
to
out
be
my buddy
Canadian.
Lauren.
It's okay. You want to be a Canadian like the cool kids. I get it.
I guess. I mean, Justin Bieber's Canadian, so whatever.
Hey,
Drake
what
is Canadian.
what about Rush and like some of the other cool bands?
I don't even know who they are.
What?
I'm
We can't be
kidding. Shut
friends
up.
anymore.
Yeah, shut up. You don't even like basketball. Get out of here.
Hey, Toronto was the first non-American team to have a basketball team. Toronto
Yeah.
Raptors.
Mm-hmm. And they won a championship because of injuries. Way to go, Toronto. They beat the Warriors a couple years ago because,
Oh.
yeah, our super team got hurt. So,
Well, while we're doing reads, I'm going to read Two Bastards Texas Smithy and Supplies, which is at Two Bastards. And when we say Two Bastards, it's Bastards TEERDS, not not illegitimate children hammer makers. This is Two Bastards with an E. But it's at Two Bastards Hammers on Instagram. So Nita and Frank have been supplying blacksmiths and bladesmiths hammers for over 6 years. If you're looking for your next professional hammer, check out Two Bastards fat peens, hand forged dog heads, or a wide variety of restored top tools and other things here from the US, as well as high quality vintage tools imported from UK, Germany, and Austria. He also does refurbs on hammers, so go check them out. Definitely my go-to hammer in the shop these days is a Two Bastards straight peen hammer. So the one I use all the time. So go check them out if you need anything hammer related.
nice. I'm excited. I'm excited
All
for
right.
mine.
It's on the way?
Yes.
Awesome.
Cool.
So what the last thing I got on the notes here is you talking with customers about shit I don't know. I'm intrigued about what this one means.
Well, so I have found myself lately with a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot of, but for me, it's a lot of interest in, orders. And, you know, honestly, I think that's the only, it's the best policy, but it's really kind of what I know. And when I'm saying that, like, I'm not really a knife guy. I mean, this is all relatively new, and I'm making these things for many different reasons. But as you kind of get into, selling things and to people, they're asking questions, and I was just I found myself where I had to just kind of tell him, like, I'm not 100% sure. I don't really necessarily know the ins and outs of the performance of a chef knife. And, I got some basics and, you know, well, I'm trying not to be a sleazy salesman bastard and just lie to them and, try to, just blow some smoke up their ass and stuff. And I kind of, I was like, yeah, I'm a newer maker and, this is what I know and what I'm trying to do. And I find a good part of me too is with this neurodivergent brain of mine is that, I don't have immediate recall of information when I actually need it. So I find myself kind of like, and it happened to me a couple times over the weekend. And I just was thinking to myself, like, uh, trying to get more information behind, a product that we're trying to sell. It sounds kind of stupid now I'm saying it out loud, but I'm curious if anybody else finds themselves in that position, or you guys are all, utter and absolute professionals in what you're doing, to where you can explain all the ins and outs of the, food release and blah, 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 and for every bit of it. So I just had a very humbling moment over the weekend where I was kind of, thankfully it was somebody that was I knew, but it was an interesting experience where I had to like stop and be like, all right, dude, just stop with the bullshit and just kind of say, this is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, I make a chef style knife that is very thin and will cut the shit out of some stuff. So, are you interested? There you go. We'll put any handle you on it, blah, 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 blah. But it was just it was an experience that I had that I thought might, somebody might relate to, or somebody might have, some suggestions on how to kind of sharpen that stuff up, because I'm definitely not into just spinning Mother Goose fairy tales to people to try to sell something, right? Because that's not the 100% the motivation of what I'm doing this for.
And there's nothing wrong with saying you don't know,
Absolutely.
for things. Like, people have asked me questions about, like, like knives that I've never made, like daggers and like stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, you want to know about daggers? Go talk to Niels Vanderberg. You want to know about, like, I'm not.
Yeah.
If I don't know something, I'll
Yeah.
point you to someone who does.
For sure. And then the other thing was like, I'm curious, guys. Tell me what is a legitimate. I mean, I understand books are closed, books are open, but I think we kind of touched on this last week. But like, how long are the lead times out there for some people? That's kind of what I'm curious at.
That's a great. I'm curious on this too, because I'm starting to, you know, I've always said that, like, my books are closed. I only take the orders, but now things are underway. I'll talk about it more in a couple of months, but I will be taking some custom orders, starting in the second half of the year. And, but I want to have some in the works, but how long of a list do I make? I can't imagine, my opinion, I can't imagine being on a list for over a year. Like, that's wacky to me. Like,
Yeah.
you lost my attention span. If it's going to be longer than, you know, 3 to 6 months tops, I'm gone. So I'm curious with these people that have like 2 year waiting lists.
Yeah. I mean, even the guys that done that, I mean, I'm sitting like right now, if somebody calls and asks me tomorrow, like, I'm like uh, at least 3 months for me. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
just realistically.
3 months is workable. Like, that's not
Yeah.
a create. But I mean, I've heard guys that are like, "Oh yeah, I'm 18," and I think someone else said, I don't know if it was Jeff or someone else said this on the podcast. Like, they wear this like a badge of honor. Like, yeah, I'm 18 months out. I'm like, really? Are people waiting that long? Maybe they are, but
Yeah. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm just trying to like be realistic with, like, but I don't want to lose the potential thing. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have anything to base that on. I just know that I have the amount of time that I have in the shop every week, and without being completely stressed out and worried about things, and every goal that I've kind of set is it's exceeded that, a little bit. But I'm just wondering, is 3 months, out of line, or, for
Well, 3
others.
months is definitely not out of line. Like I've heard people go way, way longer than that.
Yeah,
But I was flipping around and think like if I was the customer and I'm coming to somebody, you know, and someone told me 9 months or a year, you know, I'm like, I'd probably start looking elsewhere. Like,
sure.
and I would. I'm not going to wait that long. So I'm curious what people like maybe you know for guys like Morocco and maybe that is what they wanted. But I know he doesn't even do customs anymore. He
I don't know.
just
I was listening to Knife Talk today, and he had mentioned he's working on a knife, but he was saying that it was like a year and a half, 2 years. The order was, and I was just like, what the fuck? And that's really kind of what like made me think about the question. Anyways, I was like, but I mean, not apples and oranges, there, guys, but you
yeah,
know,
we're
but
not all Morocco.
yeah,
I
but
gotta say, I want to talk to him about it at Maker Camp, but I'm kind of really impressed with him. If you haven't listened to Artisans of Steel, go listen to Morocco's podcast. I think it was really brave of him to talk about, you know, how how Bob Kramer fired him. Like that had to be a touchy subject. And like he didn't shy away from it and he talked about it and he said it was shitty and he didn't like it and he felt bad and he went over it. It went through his head for years. I got a lot of respect for him coming on the air and talking about that. That
yeah,
was yeah, because you
I
guys
haven't heard it.
haven't yeah, if you haven't listened to that episode of Artisans of Steel, Morocco's podcast, go listen to it. It was good.
Speaking of a podcast, Full Blast with Pat Quinn
Yeah,
and the great questions was fucking awesome. I started listening to it on my way home, and I stopped it because I was like, I want to be like sitting down with like a notepad and a paper, and I mean, and he'd been talking about it for a while, but man, that was a fucking awesome show, and I enjoyed and learned a ton, dude. I can't wait for the next one.
yeah. I listened to that on the plane on the way back from Denver this
Yeah,
morning.
yeah,
So
a lot
yeah,
of
it was a good
different
one.
takes. One of the takes that he had on there was that I'm 100% guilty of, and it was that new tools don't make you better. Practice does, right? I am so fucking guilty of thinking to myself, "Oh, I'll just get this, and then I'll have this all figured out," rather than oh, I get the. I mean, there's things that do help, right? But that is that one hit me fucking like ugh, because I'm like, I'll see something like, oh, okay, well, if I had that, that would be perfect, and I'd be 100% better maker. But it really all comes down to, and that's one of the things that I love about the community and how people share the education, is that there's no substitute for just fucking getting out there and doing it a lot and having reps. Same with grinding bevels and for me right now it's forging and moving hot metal. Like that's what I'm in. That's
Well, when you get that new hammer, it's going to change everything, right?
oh, absolutely. There you go. Maybe one of the 6 that I have now for not doing anything. But exactly. I mean, that's really what it was. So that was really good. And that one hit home with me because I gotta just, remember, just fucking get out there and do it, dum dum.
So since we're talking about community, let's do our maker spotlight, and then we'll get the hell out of here. So why don't you go first?
Cool. So I got pulled up a maker, Josh Endez. Sorry. I always say Josh Sends, so send it. Of Wilder Knives of Alaska. Josh and I kind of started very similar time frame, and this dude has been hustling and putting out just awesome stuff. His progression from when we both started to what and how much he's put out is just always motivated and wowed me. So I thought I definitely want to give him a shout out. And if you're not already following him, go check him out and show him some love.
Where in Alaska is he? Do you know?
I do not know.
I'm just wondering if he's in Anchorage and if Spencer knows him. But because I figure, Alaska's not really that big, right?
It's the smallest state in the country, right?
Yeah, I didn't know about Josh either, so I just started following him. So he's got some nice stuff.
Yeah, you're missing out.
Yeah, cool.
My
pick this week is Nathan's Knives. So this is Nathan Scott. He's over in the Ozarks of Missouri. He's a vet. And he just does some really nice work. If you scan through his Instagram, he's got pictures of his daughter, and he's making Damascus and doing handles, and just got some really nice, clean work. So, so go check him out. That's Nathan's_knives. So we'll put these guys in the show notes. Go check them out. Give them some love, and go take a look.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, my friend. Any parting words? Any wisdom you want to bestow?
Go get ducked.
Go get yourself a Jeep and get ducked. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah. Well, that's the name of the episode. Get ducked.
So. All right, done.
Yeah.
Oh, getting ducked.
Go get ducked. Go get ducked. Go get ducked. Go get ducked. And that's a wrap.